So we just spoke about antimicrobial resistance on stage in the summit. Now, I think this is becoming an increasing problem across the world. And I mean, it's not just with humans. Even if you look at insects, you find mosquitoes are getting resistant to drugs. You're getting cockroaches that are resistant. But when it comes to humans, do you think this antimicrobial resistance is in part, especially in India, due to the easy availability of prescription drugs over the counter without proper prescription? How do you tackle that problem?
I believe we mentioned this as a problem. Two or three things we have to recognize. Okay, if you look at pure data,
Yeah.
and which I have also presented to you, there is not much of the difference between the mortality rate we have in India and worldwide, including the Western countries. So this is the reality.
Okay.
The second reality is it is a fact that without prescription, the drugs are being given uh, to there. So that problem is there. And that is a problem with the regulatory agency of exercising the rules of the game. Many times they are not able to, they don't know the solution, they don't know how to do it. And in one of our case in recent product, they impose that responsibility on manufacturer.
Right.
And we can't do that. That's not, organization can ever do that. But anyway, so that remains a challenge.
Okay.
The third belief regulators are having is, and that is my view on anti-infective area, I don't know about other area, that the way we interact with FDA or EMEA
Yeah.
and the way transparency and complete clarity is there, whether they agree or disagree, so that you can move forward.
Right.
And everything is academic and science based. Just give you an example. Recently we went, there are 20 guys who were there from every. So they have read every word of what you said and then they give you a.
Right.
Here what we find, okay, this popular notion of misuse of antibiotic, things like that, are brought into a discussion for approving a new drug.
Right.
And we find it is counterproductive.
Okay. Now, the other thing I wanted to ask you was, see, in the US, you got 6 QIDP approvals in record time. But in India, these approvals are taking a significant amount of time, especially.
I will give you two examples.
Yeah.
Okay, we haven't got yet an approval, but QIDP says they will give approval within 6 months.
Yeah.
You stretch it to 6 to 9 months. The last product, the azithromycin, that is Micnef, it took 16 months in India to get the approval after clinical trial results.
And what about Zenic? We spoke last year about Zenic, and you were expecting it to be approved within 6 months. Where do we stand on that?
We have already submitted in March. I don't think they have even initiated the process. I hope they clear at least, if not September, by December.
Okay.
Because that is one product they have recognized, drug controller himself has recognized the urgency of the need.
Right. And one more thing, the drug controller was also talking about risk capital to be infused in India. And you as a company have been working on these molecules, so many molecules. And so how do you go about the funding for this when you don't have that much of risk capital coming in?
See, the whole issue of risk capital is a whole global economic issue.
Right.
It is not linked with industry. And one of the most expensive, most risky part of innovation is the pharmaceutical industry. Any other area, the relatively span from a new idea to market is much shorter. It is a much longer area of risk capital. So the question is, you may not be able to take a risk at earlier stages, but I'm sure at later stages, one should consider risk. And you don't expect a global risk capital company to come rushing in and gushing in for our industry,
Right.
because they have a different mindset.
Okay.
So I believe in India must take a decisive view at certain stage of development where the risk management is measurable and limited,
Right.
as a phase 3 clinical trial or something, where 80% of risk is or 90% of risk is gone.
Right. Okay.
So that is something one should seriously consider.
One last question, and this is on technology. We have AI coming into everything, but in clinical trials, I think it's a very limited use case. How do you see AI being deployed in clinical trials?
See, I have limited experience because few drugs we are involved in clinical trial. But I know one thing. After my clinical trial, everything is over. The raw data analysis, putting it together, whatever, it takes roughly 4 months for global clinical companies because they deal it. We don't do all these things. So I don't understand what I hear of AI on one hand and what this 4 months is for.
Right. The speed has to improve. And on that note, thank you so much for talking to
It's
Financial
a
Express.
pleasure.
And yeah.